What's up everyone, this is Marky2200 here and welcome back to my Need for Speed testing series, where today we're going to be ranking all the rear-wheel drive sports cars in Need for Speed Pro Street from worst to best based on their grip capabilities. Given that this category of cars is the largest of any categories, this video will be longer than usual. Also, because these cars are rear-wheel drive, they are able to participate in wheelie and drift events, so it will take quite a while until we've cleared this category. For now, as usual, we are running stage 3 performance and handling packages, we're running manual gearbox, and all of these cars have been tuned properly. Tunes of every car are in the description down below. With that said, let's see which of these cars is the worst for grip racing, and that at number 19. Unsurprisingly, we have the BMW M3 E92. The E92 did a 149.25, and that's about 1 second faster than the Charger, which is right now the worst car in Need for Speed Pro Street for grip racing. And to be honest, I started testing this car with very low expectations and I was still very disappointed. Everything about this car sucks. At number 18, with quite a big gap compared to the E92, the Supra at 145.33, this car's cornering capabilities are shockingly bad, and it also doesn't feel like this car has 1000 horsepower. Nowhere near. At number 17, we have the Lexus IS350. Which did a 144.97, and holy moly, this car is just bad for grip racing. Very sluggish steering, bad brakes, and I would say the power is, decent at best. Not great. At number 16 we have the Nissan Silvia, which did a 141.25, which is quite a big gap compared to the previous one. The Silvia, the car is lacking handling wise, it doesn't turn very well, it oversteers in slow corners and it has bad brakes. The power, I would say, is okay at best. At number 15 we have the Corolla, which is actually quite a weird story, because this car has quite a lot more power than you think and a lot less cornering capabilities than you think. Basically meaning that this car isn't particularly good in both. At number 14 we have the Pontiac Solstice, and to be honest, I never liked this car. It's oversteering inconsistently, basically meaning that I could never really fully push with this car. I didn't like it in Pro Street, I didn't like it undercover, and I will probably never will. Then at number 13 we have the E46, and the E46 did a 137.55. The E46 steering is incredibly inconsistent, and to be honest, just like the Solstice, there is nothing worse than inconsistency. Basically meaning, just like the Solstice, I could never really fully push and trust this car. At number 12 we have the Honda S2000, which did a 137.34. It does suffer from quite a lot of understeer, but at least it's consistent. This means that I could learn how understeer it was, and I could try to push this car. And to be honest, it's also a lot more powerful than I thought. And it goes through the gears quite quickly. Then number 11 we have the Z4. Basically, the Z4 steering is very heavy, a lot more heavier than I thought. And it also doesn't have a lot of power. Brakes are quite good. And yeah, I guess that is what it is. It's not amazing. But we're going into the top 10. At number 10 we have the Nissan 350Z. The 350Z did a 136.80. The 350Z, it has stiff steering. Basically just like the previous two. The steering, I wouldn't say it's understeer, it's just stiff steering. But at least it's not bad. At number 9 we have one of my favorite cars in the game, the 240SX. This car has got probably the best handling of any car in the game. But I would say probably the lowest amount of power. This car is excellent for tracks like Ibisu or the alternative Willow Springs track. Except for these two hairpins, it took every single corner flat out. It's just such an amazing car. Shame it doesn't have a lot of power. At number 8 we have the DB9, and the DB9 did a 133.76, so we're jumping up quite a bit in terms of lap time again. The DB9 has too much downforce for the available grip, meaning that you can't throw it into corners because you'll oversteer very badly and very likely spin out. At least this car is very powerful. At number 7 we have the Lotus Elise, and for some reason I could never really connect with this car. I initially thought it would handle better because that's what this car is known for, but I was quite disappointed with the handling. Basically meaning I needed a lot of time to master this car and push it really for a lap. Number 6 we have the Cayman, and I will immediately say that the car that finished 5th, the Acura NSX, finished 1/100th of a second faster. So the Cayman did a 1:32.92 and NSX did a 1:32.91. While the Cayman has the power and the brakes advantage, the NSX has much better steering and better downforce. The steering on the Cayman is a lot harder and stiffer than I thought, basically meaning I prefer the NSX because of its better handling. But the differences between these two isn't really a lot. I would say on a tighter track, the NSX is definitely the better car. At number 4, quite surprisingly, we have the Infiniti G35. I'd never expect this car to be so high up. It did a 1:32.26, and to keep it very simple, everything about this car is great. Power is great, the brakes are great, handling is great, downforce is good, it's consistent and just overall a rock solid car. At number 3 we have the RX-7, which basically, just like the Infiniti, is just overall a great car. Handling is great, brakes are great, it's just that the gearbox does limit its top speed a little bit, but it's not very noticeable. Like I would say, unless you're racing on the Texas Oval Speedway, you're not going to be noticing this. Then I would say the biggest surprise is that number 2 we have the SL65. This car combines amazing power with good handling. It handles definitely better than you'd expect from a big heavy car with a big heavy engine in the front, but it's not bad. Then number 1 we have the Mazda RX-8, which did a 1:26.71, which is about 4.5 seconds, I believe 4.5 seconds, yeah, faster than number 2. This car's handling is beyond amazing. It is, however, not like the 240SX, that this car could do every corner except for the hairpins flat out. But that's obviously because this car can achieve greater speeds. So I did say that the 240SX probably has the best handling, but that's at that speed. But looking at this, probably has the better handling, because I don't think the 240SX at that speed would be able to match the RX-8. This car is so amazingly, I mean, it beat out cars like the Z06, the Impreza, the Skyline, the Evo 9 and the Evo X actually. So I would say that this is probably one of the most pleasant cars to drive, because there's not a thing wrong with it. The suspension is great, the gearbox is amazing, it sounds quite good, handling is beyond amazing, brakes are great. I mean, like I said, there's not a thing wrong with this car, and it's not super fast that you have to that your thinking process is not going to be fast enough. I mean, this car is probably the overall most pleasant car to drive, because, well, it's handling, that's its party piece. So those were all the rear-wheel drive sports cars in Need for Speed Pro Street from worst to best, with the RX-8 being by far the best. If you've liked this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you wish to stay updated on all my future videos, consider subscribing. The next testing video will be all the rear-wheel drive sports cars ranked from worst to best based on the drag capabilities. For now, this has been Marky 2200. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you very soon. Take care.